Regulators have placed a ban on lobster fishing in Long Island Sound from September 8th to November 28th, the first of its kind. The goal, to decrease landings annually by 10%. Lobster fishing in the Sound once held a dockside value of $29 million in New York alone. Today, however, lobstermen struggle to stay afloat.
During the peak of lobster fishing in Long Island Sound, it was almost like having money in the bank.
But in the fall of 1999, rising water temperatures, pesticides, and over 10 inches of rain from Hurricane Floyd created the perfect storm that wiped out more than 90% of the Long Island Sound lobster population.
Over the weekend, Hurricane Floyd came through, and on Monday, when we went out fishing, the traps were full of dead lobsters.
In early September of 1999, a West Nile virus scare prompted New York and Connecticut to spray a combined 30 million pounds of insecticides. It was these chemicals that 50-year veteran Jimmy King says was the last straw.
Just the fishing pressure alone, we had a stressed resource on our hands. So you couple that with warm water, you couple that with a hurricane that stayed offshore here for a few days and dumped a tremendous amount of rainwater in here. The sewer plants overflowed, and the coup de grace was when they started spraying for mosquitoes.
The main chemical used in the spraying of pesticides is called malathion. It's known to be toxic to both fish and crustaceans. But according to research, it's not responsible for the die-off in 1999.
There has been no concrete proof that the mosquito spray that they used at that time was the cause of killing the lobsters.
A 5-year study conducted that a parasite known as paramoeba was considered to be the cause of death to these lobsters. But it remained unclear whether other factors played a role in weakening the animal's immune system. Oceanographer Carl Safina attributes temperature to the disaster.
The die-off of lobsters in Long Island Sound is most likely caused by an increase in the average temperature to a level that lobsters really cannot survive at long term.
It's been 14 years since the die-off. So why hasn't the population started to rebuild? That's a question lobsterman Donald King says is a mystery.
Nobody really knows why they didn't come back. Some of the people say that it was warm water, but I don't really think that warm water alone was the reason.
In 2000, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce declared the die-off a result of a resource disaster, granting $13.9 million in federal aid.
They were giving out money, so I got on the line with everybody else.
Kim McCowan of Crustaceans at the Department of Environmental Conservation says the fall lobster closure dates were chosen with the lobster industry in mind.
They wanted to be able to have Labor Day open because they have really good market for lobster on Labor Day.
The fishermen, however, disagree, saying the dates chosen hardly affect them at all.
We took their data and we said, look, in September and October, when we know we catch nothing, they claim that we caught something. We said, fine, there's our 10% reduction. We agree with you.
Lobsters in the Sound may be scarce, yet fish markets are seeing no shortage of the delectable bottom dweller.
All of our lobsters are coming from Maine and Canada.
The die-off forced 88% of lobstermen to leave the industry. Lack of certainty as to why the species hasn't made a comeback has left fishermen frustrated.
I don't think many fishermen would have a problem with doing something if it's going to help and it's going to work. Nothing's worked so far.
Scientists remain skeptical of state regulations. According to Safina, a comeback is unlikely.
I think that we have seen the end of any kind of viable population of lobsters in western Long Island Sound.
Though these traps are full of weeds, lobstermen are full of hope that someday the population will return to the Sound.
I'd like to think that, there would be lobsters here in the future. Whether it's going to happen in my time on the bay, I seriously doubt.
For Stony Brook University, I'm Chad Granieri.